My name is Courtney Price, and I'm here to interview Mr. Richard Shepard about the Brandenburg Gate. Richard, would you like to explain how you were in the military and also, you know, just.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to make sure that I do state that I grant permission for this video to be uploaded to YouTube. And going forward, I guess we can go from there. Yes, my name is Richard R. Shepard. I am a native of Jacksonville, Florida. Born and raised, of course. Graduated from Nathan Bedford Forest High School. I joined the Air Force in 1980. I spent 24 years, 4 months, and 17 days serving my country. I enjoyed every single bit of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have your time in the military, and I'm guessing that my main question is you said you were in the military during the time of the Brandenburg Gate. Would you like to explain what that is and what that was about?
Yes, absolutely. The Brandenburg Gate, to my understanding, is a gate that is in Europe. Okay, it actually separates Germany, East Germany and West Germany. And as I stated, that the gate had been there for probably more than 100 years or so. But due to the end of World War II, when the United States and the Soviet Union at that time were actually allies, they built the gate, and that will symbolize the difference between the East and West Berlin.
Okay. And so, do you have like any idea of the majority reaction in like America and how most people, and I would say like the native civilians and or like your military companions reacted to this kind of situation?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking that question. It's a great question, as a matter of fact. The we should say the environment of the country, at that particular time under the Reagan administration, which was from 1980 to 1988. We were in the process of actually going through an energy crisis in the United States. So, and also in addition to that, we had to make sure that our allies and everything else was doing quite well. So, President Reagan, at this particular time, the state of the country, he wanted to build a defense system over the United States to protect it from any type of foreign enemy attacks, meaning nuclear weapons. That was something that they called a strategic defense initiative at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually was designed. It was designed to destroy incoming missiles that was actually targeted at the United States of America. Now, this was a major factor in the fall of the Berlin Wall, because the Soviet Union ended up actually almost bankrupting themselves in the arms race at that particular time, in order to minimize or prevent the U.S. from getting a stronghold on them as well. So, in turn, President Reagan went to Berlin, Germany, and at that time, I believe the Prime Minister of the Soviet Union was Mr. Gorbachev. And he one of the famous speeches that he said was on Mr. Gorbachev, tear this wall down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. That's good. And you mentioned the Berlin Wall in that. So I'm getting that they had a connection, but can you explain like how big this connection was between the gate and the wall itself?
Yes. Well, the gate itself, the Brandenburg Gate, is actually the entry and exit point of the Berlin Wall. It was actually a point to where tensions actually rolled from those in Eastern Europe trying to gain access into the U.S., or at least into the Western Alliance. Pretty similar to today, as what we would say, like Mexico is with the U.S., as far as folks trying to gain their freedom. So, of course, at that particular time, people trying to leave the East and come to the West was actually assassinated, and prevented from actually climbing the wall, just to get a taste of freedom, a taste of the Western culture, a taste of just not being under a communist rule.
Okay. And so I would say, or a main question I would say is, do you recall any main differences between before and after this event and its effect that it had on like the country and the people, of course?
Well, actually, yes, I can say so, because what a monument or historical landmark of that nature does is that it breaks families up. So at the when the wall actually came down, you can see the unification of a country. You can see the unification of families as well, families being reunited, loved ones And not only that, it allowed for the country to grow economically. Um, and then, in addition to that, of course, Germany now is one of the number one producers of heavy equipment as well as automobiles.
Okay. And so, kind of just to wrap this up, I would like to ask, how was your general reaction to this? Because I know you were in the military, and worldwide things played a great role in like your job as a Air Force member. So, is there anything that you would like to share about how you felt or how it affected you personally?
Well, absolutely. Well, one thing that I can say is that the majority, not just the Air Force, but most service members, you either when you join the military within the first 4 years, you're going to probably deploy to Eastern Europe, or either you're going to deploy to the Pacific Theater. So whenever you deployed at my age, being 18 years of age, just turning 18 by the way, and then deploying to Germany, where you know that you stand a possibility of not coming back home. That's always a great factor, a great motivating factor in your life. But the way that it affected me most is we had a heightened sense of security
Mm-hmm.
at that particular time. There were certain places that you can and cannot go. You didn't necessarily have the freedom that you had at home or the liberty to do the things that you wanted to do. So adjusting to their customs, adjusting to their courtesies, making sure that you represented our country in a positive manner was probably more valuable to me than anything else.
Okay. Well, that's about all the questions I have. Unless you have any interesting facts about the Brandenburg Gate and this event that you would like to share.
Well, it became a big souvenir type thing. So right now, and right now, they celebrate
Mm-hmm.
the New Year's at the Brandenburg Gate, just as though we're doing Times Square. Not as many people, but Berlin is the second most popular city in Germany. So it's always a good time. It's always good to reflect on the change and the positive influence that you had in your country's development.